Hi everybody, it's Dreadlocks here from Black Hair Compass. I wanted to come to you guys with a quick video about setting realistic expectations for what your hair is going to turn out like several months down the line should you decide to start a lock journey. I oftentimes hear a lot of people say, I want my hair to look just like hers, or I want my locks to turn out just like his. And I feel like this is a misguided mindset to come into the lock journey with, because if you do that, there is a high chance that you will likely be disappointed with your results. And it's not that anything is wrong with your hair, it's just that you've entered your journey with inappropriate expectations. So I hope that this video was going to help you get a better idea of what you can expect, or at least put you in the right direction for what you can expect down the line in your lock journey. So what determines what our locks are going to look like once they've matured, from what I understand, comes down to really three things. And the first thing would be hair density, hair strand diameter, and the number of locks that you choose. I'm going to go through each one of these in depth, and we can better understand how those play a role and what our overall look is going to look like. The first one is hair diameter. So all of us can kind of fall in a range of having fine hair to very thick or coarse hair, or having something that's sort of in the middle that we would call a medium. It's kind of difficult to tell just by looking at your hair if you have thin or coarse hair, but one way that you can tell is if you take one, like if you have a loose hair strand that's come out from combing your hair, brushing, whatever, you have a loose hair strand. If you place it in between your fingers and you can't really feel anything, but you know that it's in between your fingers, chances are you probably have thin hair strands. If you place it between your fingers and you can feel it, you probably are medium. And if you place the hair strand between your fingers and you can definitely feel a markedly round hair strand, then you very likely have coarse hair. If that still is not clear enough, another test that's, again, it's just a general test, it's not like, you know, set in stone, but you can take a hair strand, lay it on a white piece of paper, and lay it side by side next to sewing thread. If they look about the same diameter, chances are you have medium diameter for your hair strands. If it's smaller than the thread, then you can guess that you're thin, and then if it's bigger, then you can assume that you have coarse hair. Hair density also plays a role in what our locks are going to look like. And hair density literally just comes down to how many what is the number of hair strands on your head. If you have high hair density, that means you have a lot of hair strands. If you have low hair density, that means that you don't really have that much hair on your head. Neither one of them is good or bad, they're just different, and they do influence the way that our locks will turn out. Again, just a general kind of rule of thumb that you can use, again, not set in stone, but something to help guide you to figure out where your hair falls in that spectrum, is if you gather some of your hair. This would probably work best on loose natural hair, but you can try it, probably better on loose natural hair. But if you grab some hair and then you pulled it taut against your scalp, if you could easily see through the hair strands and see your scalp, chances are you have low hair density. If you pulled it taut against your scalp and you can't see through it at all, chances are you might have high hair density. And again, if you're falling somewhere in the middle, then you can assume medium hair density. The last thing that comes into play for how our locks are going to turn out is the number of locks we choose. Generally speaking, if you're going for a more full, voluminous look, smaller locks are usually going to give you that. If you're looking for, you know, something that's not necessarily as full, larger locks might do that for you. Hair density and hair diameter have much more of an impact on your final result than the number of locks that you choose. There have been plenty of time where I have seen people with Sisterlocks who have tons of locks, but their hair still, it does not look as full, it does not look as voluminous, and it's not because they don't have a lot of locks, because they certainly do. It's because they either have low hair density or very fine hair. Then at the same time, I've also seen people who don't really have that many locks. They have like 50 or 60 locks and their hair looks very full, and it could possibly be due to the fact that they have high hair density or they have very thick hair strands, or both. So those are some things that you need to take into consideration when choosing what you're going to go for in your final result, and also having realistic expectations for what your hair can do. For me personally, I have tried to eyeball and get an idea of what we can call my hair specs. From what I can see, I have high hair density, meaning I have a lot of hair strands on my head. And my hair strands themselves, the diameter of my hair strands is medium. It sits in between fine and coarse. At first, I started to think that I had really thick hair strands, but I actually came across someone who, she has really voluminous hair. She doesn't have locks or anything like that, but she oftentimes will blow dry her hair and straighten it. And I was just feeling her hair, and it was such an odd experience because her hair strands were so thick. Like, I could feel them, and I could like literally feel them like a barrel in between my fingers. And I understood that's what they mean when they say thick hair strands, a big hair strand diameter. And that's definitely not what my hair is. My hair was not as thick as hers. So I don't think that I have a thick hair diameter. I think I have medium hair diameter, but I have high hair density. And it's for that reason that, you know, even though I have, generally speaking, small locks, they have the appearance of a thicker look and a fuller look, not necessarily because my hair strands themselves are thick, but because I have a lot of hair strands. So I hope that this helps you guys, to give you some guidance when choosing what size locks you're going to go for, and also helping you to set realistic expectations for what, you know, your hair is going to turn out looking like. Because of these three things that I mentioned, hair diameter, hair density, and the number of locks you choose, you only have control over two of those things. So you don't want to set yourself up you know, for disappointment, saying I want my hair to look exactly like that, when it's really not physically possible for your hair to achieve that certain look because you don't have a matching hair density or hair diameter. So going back to what I'm saying, we only have control over one of those aspects, and that's the number of locks you choose. The number of locks can have an impact on your general look. Like I said, generally speaking, the more locks you have, the more full it's gonna look. Generally speaking, the less locks you have, the less full it's gonna look. But again, take into consideration what your hair diameter is and what your hair density is, and that will give you a much better and clearer understanding for what your locks will turn out looking like in the long run. I hope this video helped you guys, set you up for success, not for disappointment when it comes to your lock journey. As always, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.